Okay, good evening, everybody. We're going to call to order this public hearing of September 20th, 2016 at 5:40 p.m. Carol, please call the roll.
Mayor Delaquila.
Here.
Assistant Director of Law Tobin.
Present.
Councilman at-large Bicker.
Here.
Councilman at-large Kranek.
Here.
Councilman at-large Traffus.
Here.
Ward 1 Councilman Biassiata.
Here.
Ward 2 Councilman Frondorf.
Here.
Ward 3 Councilman Kukrow.
Here.
Ward 4 Councilman Petro.
Here.
Director of Public Service and Properties Levis. Building Commissioner Morrow.
Here. Okay, thank you. We're going to begin with the reading of notice of public hearing. Council Clerk Sakarik.
This was a legal notice published in the Plain Dealer on Sunday, September 4th. Pursuant to Article 5, Section 7C4 of the Charter of the City of Seven Hills, Ohio, public notice is hereby given that there shall be a public hearing on the following ordinance. Amended Ordinance Number 58, 2016, an ordinance enacting new Chapter 979 entitled Rockside Road South, Planned Unit Development District, as contained in Title 9 Zoning Use Districts of Part 9 Planning and Zoning Code of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Seven Hills, Ohio, for the purpose of establishing a district for planned unit developments in the City of Seven Hills. Said public hearing on the above ordinance shall be held on Tuesday, September 20th, 2016 at 5:30 p.m. in the Seven Hills Council Chambers, City Administration Building, 7325 Summit View Drive, Seven Hills, Ohio. Copies of amended ordinance number 58, 2016 are on file in the office of the Clerk of Council of the City of Seven Hills, Ohio, for inspection by any person interested therein, by the order of the Council of the City of Seven Hills, Ohio.
Thank you. Now the clerk will read the title of amended ordinance number 58, 2016.
Amended ordinance number 58, 2016, revised September 2nd, 2016. An ordinance enacting new Chapter 979 entitled Rockside Road South, Planned Unit Development District, as contained in Title 9 Zoning Use Districts of Part 9 Planning and Zoning Code of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Seven Hills, Ohio, for the purpose of establishing a district for planned unit developments in the City of Seven Hills.
Thank you. I will now turn the floor over to Councilman Frondorf, who will discuss the Planning Commission recommendations that were approved on August 18th, 2016. Councilman Frondorf serves as the Planning Commission liaison.
Thank you, Councilman. What I'd like to do is I'll give you the highlights of the Planning Commission report and their recommendations. This is Resolution 43-3016, which referred proposed amended ordinance number 58, 2016, which you've just heard, to the Planning Commission. In the matter of a referral to the Planning Commission by the Council of the City of Seven Hills to consider amended ordinance number 58, 2016, enacting new Chapter 979 entitled Rockside Road South PUD District. The background, a review of the existing zoning ordinances led to the awareness that an additional zoning classification, the Rockside Road South Planned Unit Development District in the City of Seven Hills was necessary, and that such mixed use would be in accordance with policies of the City of Seven Hills Master Plan and would promote and protect to the fullest extent possible under the powers of the Charter, public health, safety, convenience, comfort, prosperity, and general welfare of the city. Meetings were held to discuss the purpose, intent, objective, scope, and requirements of the Rockside Road South Planned Unit Development District. And due to the special characteristics of the planned unit development and the unique provisions governing the development of the land for that purpose, new Chapter 979 entitled Rockside Road South Planned Unit Development District was drafted. There was a review, land use review. The purpose of the district is to provide for the orderly development of vacant land and redevelopment of existing single-family uses in accordance with a development program and specific use regulations tailored to regulating and restricting the location and design of buildings, interior streets, and off-street parking areas. It also promotes high standards for the appearance of buildings and grounds, control of the height of buildings as they relate to the surrounding uses, improve property values and employment opportunities, capture tax revenues and other economic advantages, and to promote the general public health, safety, convenience, comfort, and general welfare of the citizens and residents of Seven Hills. The Planning Commission held numerous hearings, and the reason for it was to discuss the developer LSB Seven Hills LLC. They presented their preliminary plan for an area south of Rockside Road, east of Crossview, and the proposed ordinance number 58216, which was referred to by council by the Planning Commission for review, report, and recommendation. They go on to say that amended ordinance number 5822016, if passed, will enact this new chapter 979 entitled Rockside Road South Plan Unit Development District. Just so everyone knows, meetings and/or work sessions were held on April 5th, July 13th, July 28th, August 4th, which was a work session and a regular meeting, August 10th, which was a work session, August 18th, which was a work session and special meeting. After all of this due diligence, the Planning Commission voted, and the Planning Commission voted 3 yea, 0 nay in favor of approving the proposed amended ordinance 58125 with various recommended changes. The fourth member of the Planning Commission was not in attendance at the voting meeting, with the fifth Planning Commission member recusing himself from Planning Commission meetings pertaining to this matter. What was resolved and recommended was, number one, changes in sections 979-04, which were prohibited uses. Essentially what it was is it would change the big box square footage from 45,000 to 40,000 square feet, and that's for 979.04. On page 17 of the document, they said they wanted to have number II in parentheses read, all portions of the sidewalk within the public right-of-way other than the crosswalk shall be dedicated to pedestrians only and separated from vehicles surfaces by grade. They wanted to remove the last three words, which were or landscape buffer. Number three, mixed use design, public spaces. The recommended verbiage should be public spaces. The design of mixed use public areas and other publicly accessible areas shall include spaces for public gathering, use and enjoyment of amenities, and spaces available to the public within any preliminary development plan. And lastly, 979.15, setback requirements in off-street parking. They had a discussion with the assistant law director, and the commission and everyone involved felt that there should be some clarification of the language with respect to adjoining residential district. They said they didn't come up with any language, but would like to ask council to look at clarifying this section's language as part of our suggestion and recommendation, which I'm confident that we did. As a result, the Planning Commission recommends approval of proposed amended ordinance number 5822016 with the recommended changes appearing in the draft dated 8/18/2016 with additional recommended changes. Passage of the PUD will regulate the development of certain land located within the city of Seven Hills, south of Rockside Road and east of Crossview Road.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Frondorf. Before we proceed, I'd like to mention that last night there were conversations about a possible amendment to the PUD. After discussions today with legal counsel, we are opting not to proceed with the revised document dated 9/19/16. And with that, we will move forward and we'll open it up to the audience. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or anything pertaining to amended ordinance number 58/2016, please approach the podium and state your name and address. Is there anybody in the audience? Okay. We'll now move on to council and administration commentary. Let's begin with the administration. Mayor Delaquila.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very briefly, just want to acknowledge and thank everyone involved in this process for all of the hard work and diligence that went into the preparation of the package under consideration tonight. That would include council, our planning commission, our building commissioner, Mark Morrow, our attorneys, both in our law department and outside counsel that was retained to assist us with this, as well as our engineers from Bowen. My hope is that the project that would result from all of this will inure to the benefit of the city, our residents, as well as the developers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Delaquila. Building Commissioner Morrow.
Thank you. This was a long process, and I think that we went through it with enough care and diligence to come up with a document that's workable for both the city and the developers now and in the future. And I also look forward to a great project.
Thank you, Mr. Morrow. Assistant Law Director Christine Tobin.
The only comments I have are just to say that we, did our best and tried our best to advise council in the city with regard to all the issues that they were facing in crafting this very important ordinance, and we too hope that it works out into a very good development for the city.
Thank you, Ms. Tobin. Council, I do have some comments, but I'm going to reserve mine for the special council meeting immediately following this public hearing. Let's go around the dais. Councilman Frondorf.
Well, I'd just like to say that I don't know how many iterations of this document we went through, but it was plenty, I can tell you. And I recall, I don't want to get into a long-winded thing, but I recall Building Commissioner Morrow raising some issues that, at the surface were, it's like, wow, I never would have thought of that. I mean, they were very minor but significant. And I'm thinking about the concrete and how it's going to be poured and the patterns and, and the types of siding and that sort of thing. I mean, we went through this with a fine-tooth comb. So I'd like to thank Building Commissioner Morrow for that. Also, Christine Tobin did a phenomenal job along with Pan Hanover, who was a lawyer that we hired that specializes in this type of legislation. And I know that they spent countless hours. I'm chairman of the finance committee, and believe me, I review the bills as they could, the legal bills as they come in. And I know that, just a tremendous amount of hours and time put in by experts as well as council. I thank all my fellow council members and more importantly, the planning commission. And the planning commission did an absolute stellar job of vetting this PUD ordinance. And we have some very talented people on that planning commission. Lawyers, engineers, people in the trades, and they know their stuff. So I feel very comfortable with this PUD document and the ordinance going forward.
Thank you, Councilman Frondorf. Councilman Petro.
The only comment I have is, first of all, I too would like to thank everybody that was involved with this. And the process being complicated and for me, myself, the time that people took to answer my questions on phone calls or talking after meetings to explain it so I understood it. And it was a lot easier for me. So just like to thank everybody and hope everything goes well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Kukrow.
Thank you very much. Yeah, obviously everyone did their job on this. It was really a thing of beauty to see, from legal to building to administration to council. Everyone really did the hard work. I'm new. I've only been in office 10 months. The amount of work and effort that went into this was truly amazing to me. Every I was dotted, every T was crossed. There were hiccups, but that's what's going to happen when you are working on something that is really a pivotal moment in what I think is the city moving forward. This is really a pivoting point for the city of Seven Hills, in my opinion. And I'm proud to say that I had a very small, tiny part of this, and I'm proud to say that the people that worked on this really did a great job. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Councilman Kukrow. Councilman Kranek.
Yes, Mr. President. I'm very grateful to see this moving ahead. I guess it's a matter of being exact in what we're doing. We've tried to cover all the bases we can, and that takes time. But not the time that it's taken so far, because I can remember back about 34 years ago, I had the privilege to sit on council, and we got a project started with Lombardo. And we thought, well, this is going to open up this Rockside Road area for the city of Seven Hills, and we're going to be right there with Independence, and all these buildings are going to go in, and here we are some 34 years later. So I guess we've been patient. We've tried to make sure we've done everything right. And I think this is long, long overdue for me. And I thank God that He allowed me to be around long enough to see this reaching this point. So I'm very grateful for this. And I look forward to seeing this moving ahead, especially for the people of Seven Hills. They've waited a long time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Kranek. I want to mention with Councilman Kranek, if I am correct, Tom was on council when Lombardo Drive was being developed. So you're seeing the beginning and the end, and it's got to be pretty exciting for you.
And we thought it was just going to go from there, and it just never happened.
Took a few decades, but we're getting
Only had to wait 34 years, but.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Bicker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm the newest councilman, so I've been doing more listening than talking, but I can appreciate hard work, and it's been really nice to see this from our city officials.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Biassiata.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll echo everybody's congratulations and thanks to the administration, all my council colleagues, our legal advisors, those of you in the audience who attended many meetings. I know I've been to every planning commission meeting, every special caucus. We all jointly want what's best for the city. Most of all, I'd like to extend a thank you to LSB, their team, and their teammates for their interest in Seven Hills. I'll say that throughout the process, they've been gracious and accommodating. Along the way, I fought for the Citizens Award 1, building heights, setbacks, even a portion of the ward that's not in my portion of development that's not in my ward. Concessions were made on the building heights in the south half of the district, which I think was good for Seven Hills in total. So I appreciate all the teamwork to date. I too am excited for the future. I tried last week to add an amendment to this ordinance concerning density. And I'll ask the question of our legal counsel, Ms. Tobin, again. Early on in the process, it was recommended that density be included in the PUD. Was that not the advice of our legal counsel?
We suggested that if the city was interested in density requirements and in controlling same, that they consider including provisions regarding that in the ordinance. Yes.
Okay. And that went to the planning commission, and the planning commission felt it was in the city's best interest not to have that. Is that accurate?
I know that the planning commission determined not to include specific density restrictions or requirements in their review and recommendation back to council.
Do you have a recommendation on how we should proceed at this point? I know it's very late in the game, but how to handle, you're familiar with the amendment. I try to add that density would be in part of the preliminary plan.
Yes.
We came to the conclusion we couldn't add it because it was after the 14 days. Is it still your opinion that it's a good idea to have something in terms of density? Can we add it to the developer's agreement that's forthcoming?
Well, in answer to your first question, myself and our special counsel, Pam Hanover with Swires, we just spoke again about this today. Our position was guiding council and planning commission in reviewing and crafting this ordinance. And it was our recommendation that if the city were concerned about density requirements, restrictions, limitations, controlling density in any fashion, that they ought to, planning commission council, take a look at it and could include it in the ordinance. And it, would be a good idea to include it if that's what you were interested in doing.
So we can, another scenario, we can include this in the developer's agreement? That's forthcoming?
Provisions regarding density can be included in a developer's agreement, yes.
Okay. And if we don't come to an agreement, are we at any kind of legal risk by waiting to this point?
Well, the answer again is this. Our advice was that, you know, as we went through the various drafts of this ordinance, we talked about density and how that would be determined, and it wasn't for the lawyers to determine what those provisions would be, just like the design standards, because it wasn't a legal matter. But our advice was this, is that council should consider whether or not they wanted to include any kind of requirements on density, you know, in terms of percentage calculations or area requirements. And that was something that we have talked about, you know, from the beginning, with various meetings, with planning commission, with council.
All right, thank you for that input. Once again, I'm very excited for the future, and thank you all for all the work you put into this point.
Thank you, Councilman. Again, I'm going to reserve my comments for the meeting immediately following this one. Before we do that, such other business as may come before council. We did not schedule a caucus meeting, so let's go through the agenda real quick and assign our motions. We only have 2 items: reading and disposal of the journal from the meeting held September 6, 2016. Tony, if you could make the first on that. Jim, please make the second. And then amended ordinance number 58, 2016. Obviously, it's the Rockside Road PUD. I'm going to make the first on that one. Tim, can you please make the second? And with that, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the public hearing of September 20th.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay. Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Okay, the public hearing is adjourned. We're going to take 5 to 10 minutes so the clerk can get her paperwork together for the next meeting, and we'll be right back.
We are still recording. We're live, so.
I think I'd like to stop our council recording and restart so it breaks.
Testing, testing.
That's what it's all about.
Is the recorder on?
Just want to verify. Okay to make that motion.
Yeah, I do. I mean, you know.
Yeah. I just had a couple of minutes.
What term should I call it? Recommendation. Okay. Yeah. What was yesterday? 19. Perfect. Just wanted to verify.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
Sure.
It's a big file on this ordinance. I bet, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, it's just minutes, it doesn't, yeah, no, that's good. Because the minutes only do tell us how one of the pages.
Oh, I'm just standing up because I just got up anyway, so I might just stand.
Right.
Please rise for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please call the roll.
Mayor Delaquila,
Here.
Assistant Director of Law Tobin,
Here.
Councilman at Large Bicker, Councilman at Large Kranek,
Here.
Councilman at Large Traffus,
Here.
Ward 1 Councilman Biassiata, Ward 2 Councilman Frondorf,
Here.
Ward 3 Councilman Kukrow,
Here.
Ward 4 Councilman Petro, Director of Public Service and Properties Levis, Building Commissioner Morrow.
Here. Okay, thank you. We'll begin with the reading and disposal of the journal meeting minutes from the special council meeting held September 6, 2016. Councilman Biassiata.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata,
Yes.
Frondor,
Yes.
Kranek,
Yes.
Kukrow,
Yes.
Petro,
Yes.
Traffus,
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
All right, the minutes of the special council meeting held September 6, 2016 have been passed. Before we move on, I want to solidify what we just discussed about the proposed recommendations to the PUD ordinance. So I'm going to make a floor motion to not accept the recommendation proposed in the September 19th caucus meeting regarding residential density and permitted uses.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata,
Yes.
Frondor,
Yes.
Kranek,
Yes.
Kukrow,
Yes.
Petro,
Yes.
Traffus,
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Okay, the motion has carried. Okay, we're going to move on to open to the audience on legislation only. If anybody in the audience has any comments regarding the PUD ordinance, please approach the podium and state your name and address. Are there any comments tonight?
Couldn't sit here and say nothing.
Couldn't help yourself.
Couldn't help myself. Council, administration.
I apologize, but please state your name and address for the
Oh,
record.
I'm sorry. Jeff Gray, Principal, LSB, Seven Hills, LLC.
Address.
950 Peninsula Corporate Circle, Boca Raton, Florida.
Thank you.
I've been actively involved in development for the past 20 years, and although my business is based in Florida, I've been able to watch Cleveland grow into the great city it is today, which also includes this community of Seven Hills. The opportunity to develop projects in and around Cleveland, my hometown, have been a priority for myself and continues to be a priority for my partner, Louis, as well. It is an absolute necessity, no matter where they are located, that all projects that we are involved in, whether as the master developer, co-developer, or just as investors, are a source of pride for ourselves, our partners, and in the community. In our combined history of development, we have completed numerous projects consisting of custom-built single-family homes, condominium developments, apartment communities, retail centers, as well as several hotels. Neither Lewis nor myself have ever had projects that were in jeopardy due to recessions or any other conditions. They have all been sustained and successfully completed. Our team and I have been at the table every step of the way with this council, planning panel, and city administration. Through this process, we believe the result is an innovative project that advances the ideas you all have set, and for a new way of developing a site that not only serves the goals of the developer, but serves the goals of the public interest as well. You will see that once completed, this project is not like others you've ever seen in Seven Hills or the surrounding cities, and that the time is right for this type of development to be introduced now in the city of Seven Hills. I would like to end with this. As a council and city administration, your steadfast determination to work collectively with all while keeping the best interest of the residents at the forefront gives my partner and I much comfort that we made the right decision in making such a large investment in the city of Seven Hills. And we look forward to continuing that investment and working relationship with its leaders within the city for years to come. And Councilman Kranek, I promise you we'll get those buildings now.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Grafe. Is there anybody further for public comment? Okay. We'll move on to ordinances and resolutions. Amended ordinance number 58, 2016. And I will move that we suspend the rules under the charter and read amended ordinance number 58 by title only for its third and final reading.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Amended ordinance number 58, 2016, revised September 2nd, 2016. An ordinance enacting new chapter 979 entitled Rockside Road South Planned Unit Development District as contained in Title 9 Zoning Use Districts of Part 9 Planning and Zoning Code of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Seven Hills, Ohio, for the purpose of establishing a district for planned unit developments in the City of Seven Hills.
Amended ordinance number 58, 2016 has been read for its third and final reading, and I will make a motion that we pass amended ordinance number 58, 2016.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Amended ordinance number 58, 2016 has been passed. Okay, council is once again open to the audience on any topic that you wish to discuss. If you have any comments, please approach the podium and state your name and address. Any comments from the audience?
You're allowed to applaud if you'd like. That's fine. I saw it almost happen. It's been a long time coming.
Okay. Such other business as may come before council. I'm going to begin tonight with a statement. I just want to say that today truly is a monumental day in the history of Seven Hills. For the better part of a year, I've had the pleasure of working on creating this planned unit development ordinance with all of my fellow council members, our assistant law director, Christine Tobin, our outside law counsel, Pam Hanover, along with Jeff Grafe and his team from LSB, as well as Bill Mason and his team from Glenn's Landing. It certainly has been a long and difficult process, but I'm very pleased with the final result. From the preliminary meetings early this year to the public meeting that 600 of our residents attended at the Holiday Inn to today, I believe that we as a team have given our residents a lot of opportunity to have input on this ordinance, and I could not be more pleased with the transparency that we have all provided. The purpose of this PUD is to create the zoning for the projects that are being proposed on Rockside Road. This is the first major step toward construction, which will ultimately result in hundreds of thousands of dollars of projected annual revenue to our city. Last year, the members of the Contract for Seven Hills campaigned on our commitment to bringing realistic development to Seven Hills. Although this project may not have every aspect that our city and residents want, it certainly is realistic, and I have to say, mission accomplished. The proposed construction in this area will bring a variety of new businesses and residential uses to our city. Having a development of this size consisting of retail, a hotel, some high-end apartments, restaurants, townhome living, and senior living will do nothing but put Seven Hills on the map, increase property value, and help us to once again become a community that is desirable in which to live. The process is certainly not over. There are still important things that need to be accomplished. Up next is the development agreement. I am inviting Mr. Grafe and his team to begin negotiations with the city at the earliest possible time so we can get the ball rolling. I understand that Mr. Mason is already in discussions with the mayor. In addition, it has been brought to my attention that for a variety of reasons, it is LSB's desire to work on the development agreement with City Council and our legal counsel. Please contact me this week so we can get started on that. Again, this is a very exciting time for the city of Seven Hills. I want to thank all of my colleagues on City Council for their help with making this a reality, especially Councilman Tim Frondorf, who has dedicated a lot of his time and energy to this project as well. I also want to thank Jeff Grafe and the members of the LSB team for their transparency and honesty throughout this process. It has been such a refreshing reminder of what our city once was and what it will be again if council is able to continue with all the momentum that we've already obtained. On behalf of City Council, we welcome all parties involved into the Seven Hills family, and we look forward to working with you for many, many years to come. Okay, further comments? Councilman Frondorf?
No comment.
Councilman Petro?
No comment.
Councilman Kukrow?
You know, the only comment I have is I think everybody should really realize how much work that Councilman Trafe has put into this. I have a family, a couple of kids. I spend my time doing that. Councilman Trafe spends his time doing city business. And he really worked really hard to make this happen. And I think it's probably one of the biggest reasons why this is happening. So congratulations, Matt.
Thank you. Councilman Kranek?
Yes, I just wanted to say I'm very grateful that God's allowed me the opportunity to be here to see this start to come to fruition. As I said, it's been a long wait. I think of all the people that aren't with us today that started on this and worked so hard years ago. And wherever they are, I'm sure they're smiling today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Bicker?
Yes, well said, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilman Biassiata?
Thank you, Mr. President. I gave my thank yous during the public hearing to the administration, council, to developers. I want to extend a big thank you to the residents of Ward 1 that attended many of the planning commission meetings and many of the special caucuses that made the PUD much, much better than it originally started out. So thank you to the residents that participated in the process all along. And thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Tony. Mayor Delaquila? Building Commissioner Morrow?
No comments.
Assistant Law Director Tobin?
No comment.
Okay, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second that, Mr. President.
Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Petro.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes,
Bicker.
Yes.
meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.